To introduce, say, some of the people that made this here occasion possible. We had a kind of a whirlwind thing. To introduce, say, some of the people that made this here occasion possible. We had a kind of a whirlwind thing of getting tickets, getting them distributed, getting them sold, and people trying to get into entertainment together and getting the hall and making all the necessary arrangements. I think it's quite important that these are some of the people that consistently are working while the rest of us sit around and wait for them to work so we can enjoy the fun. I'd like to introduce one of our key committee members back there at the table. Marcy, stand up a minute and take a bow there. And the next lady here said that if it wasn't for her, she said, getting out and staying on the telephone and trying to put up with me, hassling her about where to get that and this and driving on and say, I don't know if it had been possible without that kind of insistence and her tolerating it. Joyce, stand up and take a bow. And it sure wouldn't have happened for sure if we didn't have some people out there hawking those tickets, telling them to say, you got to get your ticket. Come on, get your ticket, you know. And one person in particular, he said he was out almost forcing tickets on you. And he said if you didn't take it, he would, let you have it on credit, and he trusted you and all this good stuff. I don't know how he come out about it, but he still done it anyhow. And I think he got rid of the most tickets, whether they paid for them or not, I don't know. Oscar, I want to stand up and take a bow to that. It's kind of a funny thing about Oscar that said that this morning we had to ship a piano over here, and we had to manhandle up a bunch of steps out here. And we had all of you helpful hands, you know. But, no, we had enough to get it up here. And Oscar was one of those people. And then he went and put his engine in his car, and he's still here tonight. And it's working out. And I think that really is just doing it, you know. That's kind of overdoing it in a way. But that's the kind of way that we find ourselves involved doing things, and our day is full by doing it. Let's see. Yeah, it's given me a lot of pleasure, you know, just to be a part of what's going on here, enjoying some of the things that are this togetherness and fellowship which we find occasions to celebrate something, to be a part of, be a oneness with. The 20th anniversary is, I think, a good occasion for me in terms of, I was not around to say for the 20 years because I was still playing crazy. But about 15 years ago when I did come around, I met some people that something happened in the process. And it wasn't to happen for another 3 years before I was to get clean as the insistence of the state. And then to find out that I could come out after a couple of years and to stay clean over a period of over 10 years. But it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't people like the people in this room that kind of insisted, kind of pushed, they kind of bad-rapped me, they kind of held me up, they give me all the things that were necessary, the things that I needed. And at the same time, one person I became very close to at that time that stayed in close touch with me over the years, giving me some confidence in terms of that I could do it if I would only try. And we've been through many trials of error in my growing up. At the same time, you say, we've shared a lot of heartaches and pleasures together also. But I'm going to let him tell you his own story in terms of what happened, to give you a little history of the background of what occurred, how NA came to being, what happened. At the same time, I'd like to introduce you, say there are people that have to hold this organization together as much as any other organization. They have to see to some of the work that has to be done, that is necessary to be done. And some of those people are sitting at the table. Sometimes they sit behind the door and you never know who they are. Some of the trustees are not here tonight due to other commitments. But we do have a few of our trustees sitting up here at the front of you tonight. At the end of the table down here we have Mel. Raise your hand, Mel. And to my left I have Jimmy K. And to the left of him I have Jack W. And we'll skip one. And to the left of him, we have Maury. And to her left is Carl. Yes, we do have another person. We have another committee, our GSO chairman, that has to try to keep the representatives together and try to carry on the work that is necessary within the organization. Clark, will you stand up there back there in the back? These are just a few of the people that hold things together. We have many representatives in the room that represent the different meetings around around Southern California in particular. And these are the people that usually are the mainstays and the people that are involved, that stays around and make this thing work or stay together. We'll a debt of gratitude to these people, you know, because we couldn't do anything without them. So at this time, you know, I've been going through papers, and we've been, you know, our offices and things have been in trunks of cars, in the back of garages, and cardboard boxes, and old filing cases, and what have you, you know. And many of these here things that we keep as mementos, you know, as to times gone by. And one of these mementos that I've kept over a period of years is the original set of bylaws that were adopted in 1953, August the 17th, which was yesterday. Today is like a year and one day. This set of guides that were set down in order to run or to govern the NA as a whole. Some particular guides. There have been many additions and changes since then. But at this time, you know, I thought it would only be appropriate that I put this here, or these bylaws, in some type of archives or into safekeeping. And who better is there to give this and put it into safekeeping but the person that helped put it together, kind of shepherded it around and kept us all tied in some manner together. And I put them in a binder so that he could probably put them away with the rest of his treasures and as a remembrance to say, oh, that's where it started and this is how it is today. And I'd like to at this time to introduce and present this here set of bylaws as a token of safekeeping and a token of whatever. Don't know the words to even express it. To Jimmy K., one of the founders of NA and one of the people that has been a mainstay and one that keeps it together and has kept it together through the many of years that it has been around. So this is the bylaws, the original set, and I'm going to give these here to Jimmy as And at this time, Jimmy probably can give you a little more background and highlight as to where it came from, what happened, and what's happening right now. We'll turn it over to Jimmy K.
My name is Jimmy Kinnon. I'm an addict and alcoholic. I've been on the verge of tears for about an hour here, and that almost did it. But I'm not ashamed of tears anymore, providing they're the kind that are shed for something that's worthwhile. Now, you just about wiped my brain clean. I can't even remember what I was going to say now. However, in our fellowship, at any time, our main purpose is always foremost in our minds, whether we're at a meeting, whether we're socializing with each other, our individual homes, or whether we're at a gathering of this kind, particularly of this kind, where I have to remember personally that I am here, and possibly all of you are here, because of many people who will never be here. And the newcomers are the lifeblood of this organization, always have been, always will be. Bob pointed out a few people who are here tonight, and some who couldn't make it tonight. Those people we call, quote unquote, the trusted servants of Narcotics Anonymous. Mostly anybody who takes a position of any kind of leader, whether it's the chairman of a group, representative of the group, GSO representative, trustee, or anything else regarding this organization, just lets himself in for a lot of work, a lot of criticism, and a lot of those other things that go on. But you see, we have to grow and our shoulders get broad enough to carry these things, because the life that is given to us makes everything worthwhile. If it wasn't meaningful and worthwhile, I wouldn't be here tonight. This program didn't lift me higher, carry me further, and make me feel better than anything else I ever did in my life, I wouldn't be here. That's for damn sure. I sit up in this chair here. I've always admired these chairs. Never thought I'd sit in one. And I said, ye God, shades of Peter Lorre, you know. Where's the fat man? God. But, first things first, they tell us. You know, this is part of a dream come true. And a dream envisions great changes. But progress demands many small actions. A dream doesn't come true because of one group of people, or one man, or two men, or three men. It comes true because a lot of people work at it, because a lot of people put an effort into it, because a lot of people buy the idea and carry it forward. It's one of the reasons we're here. Most of you have noticed there's a few pictures over there on that easel. These are some of the pictures of the beginnings. But we started long before NA was a reality, even in name. We grew from a need. We grew from a need that we found, those of us who were members had come into AA and found that we could recover. In AA, we found out that many addicts were still going down the road of degradation and death. So we thought it was right that we should try to do something. But you know, we're funny people. The more we try to do things together, the more we fight each other, and the more we tear each other apart, tear down the very thing we try to build. And that's been the history up until a few short years ago of Narcotics Anonymous. We tore down as fast as we built. It's the kind of people we are, and we must recognize it, because to recover, all of us must know the nature of the illness, the nature of the addict, and the nature of recovery. All these things are necessary to grow and to live and to change. And we started from resentments. Resentments made us grow. Before NA, there was HFD, habit-forming drug groups. These were hidden. These were one or two or three people meeting in apartments here and there. Nobody knew where they were. They demanded certain things, and they were dominated by one person or two persons. You know, you and I don't go for authority. We don't like authority. A few of the people I met down in Skid Row years ago from East LA formed another group known as Addicts Anonymous. They infringed on the AA name, and they died very quickly because they too were dominated by one man. We had another group started in the Valley then that also called itself HFD and was dominated by one man. So we found out very early, and our experiences taught us that we can have no bosses, no big shots in Narcotics Anonymous. And for a while after we formed, there was a lot of things happened that I'm not going into tonight. But due to some of the things that happened, and due to the nature of the addict, the nature of our illness, some people were put in a position where they became the leaders again. The great white father, you know. We can't have a great white father or a big mama, you know. It doesn't work in this organization. And NA died once more. And the friends of ours in AA helped to pick us up and said, don't let it bother you. These were the real friends we had in the beginning. Members of AA who believed in us. Members of AA who had themselves a dual problem at that time and recognized it, and they came and they helped us get started again. But again and again, this happens in this organization. One person tried to dominate the whole movement. And every time it happens, we begin to die. Because the traditions go down the drain when we try this. And one of the first things that we said when we met as a group in that house, number one up there, where we formed those bylaws that Bob was talking about, and where we sat together trying to iron out some of the things we wanted to do, we came down to very simple ideas. Number one, that we believed that this program with 12 steps would work for addicts as well as for alcoholics. Two, the traditions must be followed if we were to grow, and grow as a fellowship that could stand on its own feet, aside from and away from Alcoholics Anonymous. We could take our own place as a fellowship and not be dominated or affiliated with anything or anybody else. And we said we would keep a place open for at least 2 years. And if in 2 years, 1 or 2 addicts showed that this program would work for them, we would have felt that it had been worthwhile. That fundamentally was what we started with. But we argued about it for about 6 weeks before we put those bylaws on paper, and then we didn't want the bylaws. The sooner I figured we could get rid of the bylaws, the better off we would be. Because the policies of the traditions are enough to guide us in what we have to do. The traditions will save us from ourselves. And this is what is so necessary in a fellowship like ours. This is life. The other way is death, and we know it. But how hard and how difficult it is not to go back. How difficult. First big order of business we had when we got together was the name. I was the first chairman of what we then called Nothing. AANA was what it was called, and I said, you simply can't do that. You've made me your chairman. We're going to have to find another name. We can't call ourselves AANA or NAAA. And the committee who voted me the chairman immediately vetoed what I said. Right? That's a good way to start. They vetoed everything I said the first night. So I thought I was off to a pretty good start. I wasn't going to get away with any horse shit from these people. They were going to find out what was right to do. And so the first order of business was to contact Alcoholics Anonymous and find out if we could use their names. And they found out you couldn't do it. So I got the satisfaction at least of being right on the first thing that they vetoed. That made me feel a little better, you know, because I got news for you. I get my own way most of the time. I know you recognize that because so do you. Okay? That's the kind of people we are. But we had a lot of trouble when we first got together. Because I'm just like you are, and you're just like I am. You're going to have to show me that what you say is going to work, or I ain't going to go along. And thank God we are like that. I think that's what makes this program work eventually. It was very hard to find a place to meet after we got together and agreed what we were going to do. We couldn't find a hall to meet in. Nobody would allow us in. They didn't trust us in any way, shape, or form. It's pretty sad when you go from one place to another after you've got something real good going and nobody will let you use their hall, you know. Eventually we did find the Salvation Army Hall, and they allowed us to use it for $5 a month. You know, that's pretty good. But there were no facilities there. There was one little restroom with a hand basin and a bowl in there, and that was it. There was no kitchen. So we had to go out and buy a little electric stove and some coffee pots and some cups, which I still have at home. I found them just this week. Had them all these years. And we used to give them to each other, because this week you might meet at my place, which is the second picture up there, and next week we might meet at your place, so you took the cups with you so everybody would have a cup to get their coffee in. You know, not many of us had more than a couple of cups in our houses at that time. In fact, not many of us were working. But that's the way it was. I still have those things. On the table here is the copy that we drew up, or rather Doris drew up, and Gilda, for the newspaper, as our announcement that we were now in business. You know, we now had a hall, we now had a set of bylaws, we now had a purpose. And it says here, Narcotics Anonymous, our purpose. This is an informal group of drug addicts banded together to help one another renew their strength and remaining free of drug addiction. Our precepts are patterned after those of Alcoholics Anonymous, to which all credit is given and precedence is acknowledged. We claim no originality, but since we believe that the causes of alcoholism and addiction are basically the same, we wish to apply to our lives the truths and principles which have benefited so many otherwise helpless individuals. We believe that by so doing, we may regain and maintain our health and our sanity. It shall be the purpose of this group to endeavor to foster a means of rehabilitation for the addict and to carry a message of hope for the future to those who have become enslaved by the use of habit-forming drugs. Starting Monday night, October the 5th, 1953, each Monday thereafter, at 8:30 p.m., corner of Cantaratt and Clybourne, Sun Valley, California, directly behind the Sunland Lumber Company. Yeah. Got news for you. The Sunland Lumber Company is now defunct, but we're still living. Okay? And the Salvation Army Hall is still there, and there's two pictures of it on the top line up there. It is now a Spanish church. Some of the other pictures up there are where we had some of our rabbit meetings. We called them rabbit meetings then because we never knew where we were going to meet. If there were 5 or 6 of us at a meeting tonight, we decided then whose apartment or whose house would have the meeting in next week, and you would take the cups and the sugar bowls and the format with you, you know, and then we'd meet at your place next week. It wasn't that we who were getting into the program then were so afraid of the law, but the newcomers were scared to death. I made a sign and we put it outside the front door of the church there, about twice the size of this, 3 times the size of that. I said, NA meeting tonight, 8:30. And we opened the door for business, and we get about a dozen alcoholics in there who came to help us, and then a car would pull down around the corner, slowly, and they'd look at the sign, and then they split. Nobody trusted nobody, you know. They thought it was staked out. They wouldn't believe us when we told them there's no surveillance. And we weren't just too sure in the beginning ourselves, because as a group, we decided that we were going to get right with the law at least, and we went down to the narcotics division, and we told them, we didn't ask them if we could, we told them we were going to have a meeting of addicts. And they raised their eyebrows a little bit when we first mentioned it, but there were 5 of us down there, and Miller, I forget whether he was a lieutenant or a captain, he listened and he said, it's about time something like this happened. I've been trying to help addicts for years and with no success. I can't help anybody. And so he called in a lieutenant to listen in on our conversation and see what he thought, and he was a hard-nosed, old-style, hope-to-die cop who knew for sure that none of us could recover, you know. And he listened. And Miller was saying, I like that idea. I'll go along with that idea. I buy what you have to say. I'll do everything I can to help you. All the way down the line. He was all for it. And he kept his word, by the way. And he said to this lieutenant, what do you think? Ain't gonna work. Once a junkie, always a junkie. You know that, goddammit. There's never any of them going to get any better. I don't care what you say, you know. I don't care what these people say. It ain't going to work. So he looked back at us, and I didn't know what the hell to say. You know, I'm only one of the group. I looked at Doris. She didn't know what to say. Frank didn't seem to know what to say. And old Pat, who was sitting back there, with his mouth shut all this time and never opened his mouth, says, Lieutenant, my name is so-and-so. I was born and raised in such and such a place. I got arrested the first time for such and such a thing, and I was sentenced such and such a time for so many years. And starting there, I want you to go back and check my record all the way through. I've been in every goddamn federal pen except Dannemora in the country. I'm the last of the Petermen, and I haven't had a bit of junk for 18 years. I haven't been in jail for 18 years. And this program works for me. Now look it up and prove it to yourself. Because I was never out of jail from the time I was a kid until the time I found this program. And the guy didn't know what the hell to say. I said, now I mean it, you check it out. Whether the guy ever checked it out, I don't know, but I know that the police department, the narcotic division, kept their word to us, and they never staked us out. They never busted us in any way, shape, or form. They never rousted us coming or going to meetings. And so we, in turn, kept our word. We policed ourselves. And we followed traditions as best we knew how. And this is what has made us basically begin to grow in the last 12 years. A few of the other buildings on that, a few of the pictures there were men, one man in particular, who had started AA within some of the federal institutions many years ago and helped us start Narcotics Anonymous in Walla Walla, in San Quentin, and a few other places. Lots have since died, too. I don't know what the hell I made these notes for because I'm not following. We did begin in 1960, again, the beginning of 1960, with about 4 people, and started to build the group up again according to the original concept of steps for the individual, traditions for the groups. And we have been growing slowly and steadily ever since. Primarily, I believe we've been growing because we haven't had the domination of any one particular group of people, particularly in the area that most of us know, California area. I think primarily that is the reason, the main reason for the big difference, plus the fact that more and more addicts now know the value of 12-step work. It used to be we could never get addicts to go on a 12-step call. Some of the strangest things used to happen, you know, when about 8 or 10 addicts in a group would descend on some poor, unsuspecting little junkie who was dying in a back room someplace in his mother's home, and we'd descend on him like hornets. You know, everybody gets scared. We had to go in groups because nobody would go alone or singly or in couples to go. Everybody's afraid they were going to get loaded if we went and called on another addict. So that was another one of the myths that we build up ourselves, that we can't go and call on somebody who's using, we're not using ourselves. It's one of the greatest lies of all time, you know. It ain't true. Not damn bit true. And this is one of the reasons we grow. Plus the fact that we follow possibly the best thing that any of us can do. We are willing to listen. Bob, what'd you do with my other notes? Steal them or something? Oh, here they are. I resigned one time as chairman of NA before I really got going again because of the very thing I'm talking about. I resigned because we were not following the traditions of Narcotics Anonymous. It's a strange thing. I said I was going to mention it tonight, and then I decided against it, but I am going to talk about it. Because actually, although we had meetings going for several years, about 4 years, there was no Narcotics Anonymous. Because one of the things we said that we would call ourselves an NA organization and fellowship as long as we use the steps and the traditions. So when we stopped using the traditions and it became a one-man rule proposition, there was no longer really any NA. I mention it for two reasons. Because it died out. There were only a few of us left. But it also points out the fact that this program, once we begin to live it, we can't let it go. It's going to grow again. This program is not going to die out. If all of us in this room right now, and this is a miracle in itself, if all of us in this room don't make it, this fellowship is not going to die out. Not because I say so, but because that's the very nature of recovery. That once there is a knowledge that something can be done, it is never lost. It is never lost. Somebody will pick it up and will continue. But we have come an awful long way. I paraphrase commercials an awful lot. And there's a good paraphrase in our structure of Virginia Slim. You come a long way, baby, you know, to get where you are now. And I'm not going to say a hell of a lot more because I'm too high. I'm too high right now. I'm going through the ceiling right now. We're growing faster now than we ever did before. We're in more states, we're in more countries, and there are more opportunities for each and every one of us to find our place in Narcotics Anonymous and carry the message of recovery to addicts all over the world now. We can no longer try to contain it here in California or in this country. But it's going to take everything all of us got. It takes everything we got to stay on this program. This is a blood and guts program. This is not a program for panty wastes. But there are no panty wastes in NA. If you're an addict, you've got a lot of guts to begin with, or you wouldn't be here. Okay? So let's put this to good use. Let's take this thing that we've got and make something better even than it is out of it. You know, I said many times a long time ago that a man without a dream is only half a man, and a fellowship without a vision is a farce. I still believe that. But I know damn well that we can find our fulfillment in living a day at a time here. And a day at a time, our vision and our fellowship can become a greater reality. They're the things that I am still interested in. 2 years ago at the convention, when I had just regained my voice, I said then that as long as I lived, I would use what voice and what strength I had to further the efforts of Narcotics Anonymous and that other beautiful fellowship that I belong to, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I intend to do that. But it's going to take all of me, and it's going to take all of you, and all the people that you're going to talk to, and all the people you're going to carry the message to make this a greater reality. There are people out there on Left Cienega Boulevard dying of our disease. There are people all over this world dying of our disease. And believe it or not, we are truly the only people who can really help them. Let's never forget that. You and I have been given through illness, through suffering, and through disease, a talent for helping other human beings like ourselves. Let's never forget that we have it, and that we are responsible for others. But primarily, we must be responsible to ourselves. And I seldom talk about higher powers, the particular concept of the higher power that I have around the groups. But believe me, I have it. And I don't know how many people are in this room tonight. I don't know whether there's 100 here or 110 or 112. But over and above all of us, and in and through all of us, there's a power that there isn't anywhere else in this world. That's what Narcotics Anonymous is all about. That's what it'll always be all about. But I'm serious tonight. I'm live serious tonight, not dead serious. This is a program of life and living. And I'll be serious long enough. And I hope for the rest of the night we all have a hell of a lot of fun. Because that's what living's all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy. I don't feel that this program would be quite complete if I didn't kind of turn the mic over to another person that say that have been around the program, and many have caused many discomforting moments amongst people because he speaks what he believes in and what he feels, not what perhaps what you want to hear. He has just been recently elected chairman of the Board of Trustees, and I think it only right that he be given a few moments to tell you how he feels about the whole thing. Jack Whaley.
My name is Jack Whaley, and I'm an addict. Can you all hear me? Good. I kind of feel like Ehrlichman talking into this mic here. In good conscience, I did what I did, and that's all I really have to say. The only thing I really have to feel tonight, and tonight is one of these kind of feeling things, is pride. And I know that goes before a fall, but that's what I have to feel is pride. I have pride in myself. I have pride in this program, in Narcotics Anonymous. A whole fucking room full of failures. Is there anybody here who isn't a failure? Who didn't get here because they weren't a failure? You had trouble walking and talking and breathing and living and being married and going to school and relations with your parents. And you can't even do what 11-year-old kids are doing, man. You can't even smoke a little weed. Ain't that something? 11-year-old kids out there smoking weed and drinking a little wine and getting along fine, getting good grades in school. You know, got a girlfriend, riding their bike by little stingrays around town, you know, snapping their fingers, getting along fine. And here's some grown people, some of the slickest people in the world, so they thought. Walking and talking all that jive and can't do it. And you're cool. Yeah, I have pride tonight. I have pride in myself. I have pride in you people. I am sitting up here for only one reason. Is because because I'm a little older than you are, and I got here a little sooner, and I've stayed cleaner a little longer. That's the only reason why. No other reason. Not because of any great special talent. If you have a desire to sit up here, then baby, just stay clean, you know. Stay clean, and when they call you to talk, get up there and commit yourself. And say what you think needs to be said. And you'll be wrong most of the time. Tell them like it is, Danny, and you'll be wrong most of the time. Tell them like it is, Craig, and you'll be wrong most of the time, won't we, Bob and Jimmy? Yeah, we'll be wrong most of the time. But goddamn it, we'll be right sometimes. Jimmy said it. If we stick by the traditions, the groups will be right. If we stick by the steps, we'll be right. I used to go to meetings when I was new, and I'd listen to these people. Those old-timers, those people that had 2 or 3 years on the program. And they'd give me all kind of advice. And I'd go home and I'd read the book, and I'd try working another step. And then I knew they were wrong. And I'd come back and tell them in my own sweet, soft way, you motherfucker, you're wrong. Don't tell me I ain't spiritual. I'll punch you out and prove it, won't we, Danny? Yeah, I've got pride in this program. Hey, I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, too. I'm also a member of the PTA, but I don't mix them up. I don't go to the PTA and give a drunk log or a dope log. In Narcotics Anonymous, I talk about myself as a drug addict and my problems as a drug addict, and how can I help you as a drug addict. Alcoholics Anonymous got along before we came into being. They'll get along without us. I have no resentment against Alcoholics Anonymous. If I did, I would resent myself. What I have a resentment is people who think we're playing second fiddle, who are ashamed of being part of Narcotics Anonymous. If you're ashamed of it, split, man. I don't want you. I'm proud. We got a whole room full of failures, and the people in this room, it's like the tip of an iceberg. 9/10 of us are out there. We're the ones that weren't too cheap to pay $10 to eat this rotten food. Cliff and Karen, I know a good little Chinese restaurant, for about $1.50 a meal. But, for a banquet, it's fine. Yeah. I'm proud to be a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Hey, I wasn't always. 12 years ago, I used to go out there and see Jimmy talking to those 2 guys, there'd be 3 there, and 2 of them would be loaded, and Jimmy would be talking to them. And I thought, shit. The only reason why I ever went to any of those meetings was not to get anything. I was going to carry my message to them. I've done a hell of a job. Look at all you people. Jimmy said it. There's only one way not to get criticized in this program. That's to sit in the back of the room, and when they call you, say, I don't feel like talking tonight. I've got an emotional problem. You'll never get criticized. They'll say, poor guy, poor gal, poor thing. But you'll never get criticized. But the people who get up and commit themselves, who get up on the podium when they're called, or even when they're not called, when they just walk up there, and commit themselves and say, I'm Sally, I'm Joe, I'm an addict, and then say whatever they want to say, they seem to be the ones who work the steps, who go to meetings, who stay clean. You want to sit up here, you want to talk? Keep coming back. You want some of these jobs? Come to these damn business meetings. Go to the groups. Tell them you want to be a representative. Tell them you want to be active. Go to institutions. They'll give you all the bloody work you can handle. And then as you burn up your car putting so many miles on it, when you get $100 phone bills, when people are always bugging you, when you have no time for your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, your husband, you'll begin to wonder if it's really worth it. If you really wanted to be a big shot in Narcotics Anonymous after all. If you really wanted to be a big shot in Narcotics Anonymous after all. Just pride. That's all I got is pride, because I know what I am. I'm the little skinny guy who was 6'1", who felt like he was 4'11", that always had the little voice saying inside of him, Jack Whaley, you're a fuck up. You're a fuck up. No matter what I took, that's what the little voice said. No matter how loaded I got. The little guy who was scared all the time, who was afraid all his life, who failed at everything he did. At everything. I'm now 100% successful. I have stayed clean with no drugs of any kind for over 12 years. 100%. Perfect. Of course, now in some other areas of my life, You know, más o menos. A little shaky. That's all right, though. I didn't come to this program to be a lover. I tried and had a heart attack, you know. Got to be a pretty good handball player. Hell, if nothing else, you know. Got to do a few things I liked. Unbelievable, man. They used to strap me up in those goddamn cycle wards, man. A stark raving maniac. And drill quarter-sized holes in my head. And I'd pick up pop bottles, man, you know. You only got 2 cents for them then. Just out of my mind, man. Bleeding, you know, getting shot, getting cut. Now here we are, we're sitting in the Islander, man, you know, nice light, food, and people treating us just like we're actually really people. Shit, most of us work and pay taxes, and, you know, I don't pay all I should, but I pay some. Yeah, just like real people. Pride. Absolute pride. And you know what? I know how to keep it. People ask me, Jim and I were talking, people asked me to be their sponsor. I said, I'll be glad to be your sponsor. But be careful of what I tell you. I advised one guy about the stock market, a baby of mine. He lost $2,000 because I made $8 in the stock market one time. I thought I was a financial tycoon. I tell him, lots of times I'll be too busy for you. If there's a chick involved, I'll be too busy for you. If somebody wants me to go fishing, I'll be too busy for you. Disregard most of what I tell you, except read the book, go to meetings, and work those fucking steps. Those are 3 things. And I'll be glad to be anybody's sponsor. But you see, that's what I tell everybody. Pride. Yes, I have it. I have pride in me. I have pride in the program. And baby, as long as you stay clean, I have pride in you. If you get loaded, shame on you. You come back to the program, and the ones that come back to the program and come up to me, you know what I tell them? The ones who have come back, they know what I told them. Man, bring me a year, and don't talk to me until then, because I don't trust you anymore. That's right, I don't want to talk to you. The hell with you. You betrayed me. Betrayed yourself, too. I don't want to talk to you. If you've been around the program and you fall off, hell, get a year. Because you got nothing to say to me. I don't want to hear it. I got too many people who want the program. Yes, I have pride in this program. I know how to keep it with those 3 things, and I know how to lose it, too. I know how to lose it. I wish I could say this program had come of age. It hasn't come of age yet. We are coming of age. What I want more than anything is for people to have pride in themselves as recovered drug addicts. I want people to have pride in the program of Narcotics Anonymous as a separate entity from the PTA and the Humane Society and the Salvation Army and AA, as a fellowship of men and women who share a common experience in drug addiction, who are making it. I hope in the next year that we get some of this pride of being together, of being brothers and sisters in Narcotics Anonymous. And most of you know my feelings on the spirituality of this program. I am an atheist. But in closing, I'd like to say what Tiny Tim said at Christmas, and that's God bless us, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. We have a couple more things. We have a couple of door prizes we're going to give out. It seems as though somebody's going to get away from here and say not paying at all, don't it? That's what it looks like. We're going to have three door prizes. You got a couple more tickets on that. We got our first door prize is going to be $10.
All right.
How about that?
Hey.
I already got that one under my finger right here, and it got my name on it. I thought I'd let you know. So if it comes up with my name on it, you know what happened.
I'm going to get some broken fingers.
Well, I'm going to get somebody else to draw it then. That way I get my fingers out of the bowl altogether. How about that?
Yeah.
Say, Monty, how about coming up here and grabbing something out?
Yeah.
I know you got a number of fingers there. I don't know if I wanted to give this one out or not. He came in late. It is right on top, I believe. Mike Smith. I run out of money, man.
So they ain't sticking together.
I don't see mine yet.
Shake it once while you're playing.
I'm playing with it.
Let Karen do it. Let Karen do it.
Yeah, Karen, Twain can get more.
Uh-oh.
Lois Pierce.
All right.
That's what you get for living right. Yeah.
$5. I gotta find it too fast. Okay, I'll rip this one in half. Okay.
One.
I'll have to get some change in.
What do you need?
Oh, it's through. That's better than cheating around.
We'll get it broke in just a moment.
What do you want?
This got $5 change.
What's change?
Put it on the cuff, baby. Okay, my turn now. Jack, come on up here and get something out of here. Get my number out of here.
Jack.
Something. I know that's not mine.
I think it's
I can't read it.
That's mine.
Stuart, how do you spell your last name?
P-O-O.
Is that how you spell it? Can you read it after you wrote it? I thought it said something about Impact House Club or something. Is that your name? You got $5?
Yeah, I got $5.
I don't need to give. If you got 2 5, that's what I want.
Well, I'll make it.
You got 2 5.
I got you.
Oh, okay.
Just don't forget to give me the 10.
Couldn't get away.
Couldn't get away with it.
Lois, you're going to have to take yours in short change, man.
For your 3/4 in the nickel? Will you settle for 3/4 in the nickel? That's that.
And that's it for the money to solve the things in the drawing. I'd like to make... Let me finish. I'd like to make one announcement. We do have some musicians, as I told you. We got talent that's untapped around here, and sometimes we just have to hear them off in funny places and corner backyards and so forth, doing their thing. And sometimes we like to draw on. You see, we got some things